Hi, I'm Seth from Metasonde, and I work with community media centers on information technology, audio video infrastructure, operations, and outreach. And these are the 8 trends that I'm keeping an eye out for in the year 2026. The biggest theme is this idea of direct relationships with specific audiences. And community media has done this well for, well, ever, right? We help people create shows or create content nowadays about the things that interest them. We serve a hyper local community. And if you look at some of the most major growth in marketing and other outreach efforts, it's in newsletters about specific niche topics. And you look at all the streaming platforms that are out there, they're all going direct to consumer. So this will be the year that we double down on building those direct relationships with specific audiences, whether that be the community or people that have very specific interests that we can serve. Trend number 1 is the content first website. Now, you take a survey of a good number of media center websites, and they all have a very common theme. This banner at the top, maybe a link to video on demand, an About Us page, maybe a link to staff and board of directors, hopefully for donations, maybe a mission statement, a nice picture of the community, and then maybe down below would be some of the latest videos, or maybe the latest videos or live streams are a couple of clicks away. Well, this is the year that we turn it on its head. We respect the visitor to the website by giving them what they want right at the top of the page. It's all about measuring the number of taps or the number of clicks to watching your latest on-demand video or your live stream. So we're going to flip the website on its head and put video right at the top. It's basically the end of the brochure website, and now the content is always fresh. There's always new videos that are being posted because, well, let's face it, video is number 1, what people are coming to the website for, and number 2, it's usually the content that you're pushing out the most, not just necessarily website posts about maybe an event that's going on at the facility or something new that's going on. By the way, bonus points if you're posting community news items and repackaging some of your video as text news content. There's a lot of centers doing that, and it's pretty great. The second trend is YouTube. Now, I know what you're thinking, Seth. Yes, we've been on YouTube forever. Yes, of course, I know that. But we're going to talk about some of the newest features to YouTube and how you can take advantage of them. Now, there's no mistaking it, right? YouTube is the most important discovery engine, and YouTube is part of the strategy, but it's not the only strategy. I still recommend owning your own on-demand platform, whether it be through your playback vendor or through a service that you're paying for. Archive.org is great, but it too is a free service that can change the goalposts or change the rules at any given time, and well, so can YouTube. People are discovering new content on YouTube, and it's the gateway to being on the smart TV. Now, here's a relatively new feature that's come out in the last few months, and that is called collaborations. And you may have seen this with some of your favorite creators, where it's creator number 1 and creator number 2 on the listing. Those are collaborations where 2 different YouTube channels can share the same video. How can this work? Well, think about when you simulcast your rival's football game. You can have it on one YouTube channel, and then your other media center, your colleague who's picking up your feed, could effectively share your stream, but have it be on their channel as well. Collaborations are included in all of the YouTube channels right now. Take a look, it's pretty neat. The other is monetization and memberships. Now, YouTube has certain criteria for being able to monetize videos, meaning being able to have YouTube place ads either before, during, or after your videos. Memberships is another one that you'll be able to take advantage of when you build up your YouTube audience. Memberships allow you to sell, almost like a paywall. You can sell content on YouTube. You can paywall live streams. You can paywall certain videos on demand. You set the price, and YouTube will charge for it, almost like Patreon, except it's on YouTube. Trend number 3 might be a little controversial, and that's why I have a question mark there. The end of 24/7 streaming? Okay. So, no, you're probably not going to get rid of your live streams right away. But if you haven't completely gone into streaming any or all of your channels 24/7, I wouldn't necessarily be in a rush to do it. Think about the expense of maintaining what I call the 3 of everything, or some of you have 4 channels, the 4 of everything. Those expenses add up both in equipment and ongoing services. The idea of the event-based live stream is growing rapidly, and yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record talking about YouTube again, but you think about a city council meeting or a select board meeting or a sporting event. The idea of pushing it out as an event will allow people to get reminded and subscribe to that event when it goes live. It's unconstrained by your linear channel. So if the game runs long, but the programming block comes to an end, the game doesn't come to an end or the meeting doesn't come to an end. Plus, from a discovery standpoint, people are often searching for the name of the football team or the basketball team or the name of the high school band concert that they're trying to watch. So, from an outreach and discovery standpoint, those event-based live streams can be golden. Think about if two events are going on at the same time, two meetings, two concerts, two athletic events, and maybe you only have one channel. Well, you can have one event on one channel and then have the second event on the other channel, and now all of a sudden your coverage scale has increased. Our next trend, let's talk about vertical video and shorts. Now, this is nothing new, but what is new is live streaming on Instagram, which is, with Instagram Reels, one of the most rapidly growing short delivery platforms, that's a mouthful, out there right now. You do want to build up your following on Instagram because it does take quite a number of followers and subscribers to be able to live stream. So start repackaging some of your highlight reels of either a city or town meeting or maybe a highlight reel of a concert as a digital short. I've seen a number of communities do like a what's happening this week in town type short. Shorts, whether it be on Instagram or TikTok, are being rapidly consumed by Gen Z and younger, and we all want to be able to reach that audience and let them know how important hyperlocal content is. So this is the year of shorts. The next trend may be one you're not quite expecting, and that's the 250th anniversary of America, or America 250. Now, we've all often lamented how volunteerism is way down, and a lot of the access stations, right, have been fueled by volunteerism, somebody coming in to run a camera. It's a shame that not as many people come to the doors as they used to, but maybe this year that can change. A part of America 250 is the America Gives nationwide volunteer service program. Now, this is picking up major corporate sponsorships across the country. It's encouraging nonprofits to list themselves in this directory and for people to register their volunteer hours. So from an outreach perspective, it's almost like a national year of volunteerism. Now, this is also a pseudo semi-contest as well, because people can register their volunteer hours and effectively enter a contest. And if they win, the America 250 Foundation will donate money to a charity of the winner's choice. So maybe you'll make a few dollars in fundraising, but more so, it's just another way for volunteer outreach on a national scale, part of the America 250 celebration. Our next trend is podcasts in the studio. Now, I know many of you already have dedicated podcast studios, and for a lot of folks, it's been very successful. These smaller, more intimate studios are less intimidating for people. In some cases, they tend to do better than the TV studio themselves. Well, as we move forward this year, we are seeing a decline in audio-only podcasts. Where's the growth in podcasting? You'd be surprised to learn it's on YouTube. Now, YouTube requires that all podcasts do have a video component, but if you think about some of the most popular podcasts across the world, it's two or three talking heads in front of a radio mic in front of a curtain, and that's about it. I would encourage you this year to bring the big mics out into the TV studio and start doing your podcasts in the TV studio if you aren't doing that already. And if you think about it, a podcast is a program about a niche topic, usually done by an expert in that field, talking about something they're passionate about. Well, if that isn't classic public access, I don't know what is. Our next trend is captions, and this one is a little bit more urgent. So if your city or town has a population of 50,000 or more, you've got until April 24th of this year to get captions on air and online. This is known as the WCAG standards. And for everybody else, populations under 50K, you've got until April of next year. So the time, well, it's ticking. Now, here's something important. It's not just text on a screen, it's also descriptive audio as well. The angry citizen walks up to the podium to talk about an issue they don't like at the city council meeting. In this case, descriptions can be what's on a slide. So if an attorney comes to present during a select board meeting, The descriptive audio service will need to read out what is on that slide if the person giving the presentation doesn't read their slides. And who doesn't read off of a slide during a presentation anyway? Now, the easiest way to get this implemented is to work with your playback system provider because just about all of them now have an easier pathway to adding that on to your system. Now, it is an ongoing expense for a certain number of captioning hours. It's also time to assess your playback chain because here's why. If you have to down convert your signal for certain cable providers, because if you're putting out HD, SDI, but your cable provider needs SD SDI, you might be using a up-down cross converter or some sort of mini converter in your rack in order to make that happen. Just about all those mini converters strip out the captioning data. The only exception is the Decimator V2, and that's if you're going from SDI to composite, and there's still an amazing amount of composite still out there right now. Take a look at what your chain is, and if you have mini converters in place, you'll need to either take advantage of simulcasting your HD and SD channels through your playback system. Ask your vendor if they're able to do that. Or you'll have to look at more expensive converters like the Blackmagic Terranex or the AJAFS series, but those can be pretty expensive, anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000. So it might be easier if you can change your playback system in order to give you an SD output. However, be aware, in some cases, it may step down your web stream from high def to standard def, and you don't necessarily want to do that. And last but not least, getting into IT, it's cybersecurity. Now, cybersecurity, it's nothing new, but I often hear in the field, well, Seth, we're a pretty small organization, so no one really is going to go after us. And unfortunately, the truth nowadays is that you're just not large enough to make the big local or national headlines. Cybersecurity threats and risks are a real thing. And what I'm seeing right now in the field is not so much the classic malware and ransomware, although that stuff does still exist. The new frontier is the browser extension. So think about all those add-ons that you may have in your toolbar on Chrome. Any extension or add-on that you use can basically read everything you do in a browser, from the websites you visit to the form fields that you input. I mean, think about your password fields. So be super careful about the extensions that you add to your browser. Be super careful about where you download those free file converters, free video converters. That's another one as well that's pretty common in our field when you need to go from one bizarre file format to another file format. Email impersonation is another one. That's when a malicious actor will scan through your website and they'll find the names of your staff members or your board of directors, like your treasurer, for example. And then let's say your treasurer's name is John Doe. Well, they'll decide to try and craft an email coming from John Doe. Now, his name will be there, but the email address will be, something completely random. But they're impersonating those people in an effort to extort money or to, try and do something malicious as a result. Now, Google Workspace and Microsoft 365 do have defenses against email impersonation, so I would suggest taking a look at that or further exploring that as an option so that you can at least have some warnings on the screen before you act upon an email coming in that's pretending to be somebody else. The other side of it is to assess what you list on your website, and I know that this is a contentious topic, but putting your full staff roster, your full roster of board of directors, titles, pictures, biographies, I understand it's important as a public-facing organization, but also, too, that's how these malicious actors find out information about your organization. So maybe consider paring back the amount of information you put on your site about the people who work there, maybe a group photo, maybe some first names, that sort of thing. And so there you have it. These are the 8 trends that I'm looking out for in community access media for the year 2026. What do you think? Do you have other trends that you're keeping an eye on? And if you need help either implementing some of these trends or need guidance for information technology for your media center, infrastructure consulting, you name it, I'm here for you. Metasonde.com, or you can click the link in the description below. I'd love to chat with you and learn more. Thanks so much for watching.